What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Figure It Out of the Basement's Black Series talk show. I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
Sup, guys?
And today we're going to be continuing our 10th anniversary Black Series retrospective. Today we are finally starting the blue line.
Wow.
So, finally a week of no news, which is not a bad thing.
Right. Mando Mania has come and gone. Star Wars Celebration, May 4th. Finally, not a lot of news to talk about.
So we're jumping back into our little retrospective mini beat.
Yeah, I hope we at least do the whole blue line this year. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll do the whole line, but I want to at least do orange and blue line.
Definitely.
So the blue line, Nate, I'm going to be honest, the box still looks amazing. However, I do think orange line is just a tad better. It just pops a little more.
Right, it's definitely more of a contrast, but blue line does still look really nice.
It does.
I really just enjoy the original Black Series packaging.
I mean, orange is 10 years old. Blue is almost 10 years old. It's almost like a little bit of nostalgia with the orange and blue line. It just reminds me of when I got into the hobby and I was playing catch-up and going to all those Walgreens, and every time I saw a blue line and my face lit up like, oh, there's another one. So it's super cool to finally get into the blue line. We will be talking about Wave 5 of the Black Series, which is Wave 1 of the blue line. 2014, all of these figures were priced at $19.99, and our first mainline wave of the blue line consists of the Sand Trooper Corporal. This is the Black Pauldron version, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, and Chewbacca.
Good old Chewie.
Yes.
If you remember the last retrospective episode, we briefly discussed that Chewbacca was originally going to be an orange line figure, and there was even a prototype with a crunched Chewie in a package.
That is why they skipped number 13 in the orange line, and we finally get Chewie here in the blue line. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk. Honestly, we don't have to say a lot about this figure because we've been talking about this a lot.
Right.
The Sand Trooper Corporal, which is the Black Pauldron. You guys already know all of our thoughts on this figure. I feel like we don't really have to repeat ourselves.
Yep.
3 blasters, excellent weathering, big old backpack, different helmet sculpt. Literally one of our favorite Black Series figures.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add was this was my first Sand Trooper, so the Black Pauldron always has a little extra special place in my heart.
It's one of the few from the orange and blue line that I would say still holds up today, minus the bowed legs.
Yeah, and then we got an absolute stinker in the Darth Vader Return of the Jedi with removable helmet. This is the infamous puppy dog eye Vader.
Yeah, this is one that I remember even you were passing when it was really easy to get.
And it was like the only Vader option. So like, it was like, well, it was either that Vader or nothing. And even then I was like, I can't do it.
It was the beginning of the really weird brown reddish eye thing. Because Vader does indeed have a red tinted lens eyeballs in Star Wars, you know, the first film, but in Empire and Return, they are jet gloss black. So for Return of the Jedi, it was really weird to give him these like brownish eyes. I've always hated it, like always. The head sculpt underneath, it's not that bad though, I'll say it.
That is true. It's not bad. But there's pretty much nothing else really redeemable about the figure. I mean, even at the time, the articulation, pretty limited. Obviously, having any chance of displaying it with the helmet on is completely gone because it just looks so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. Puppy dog eye Vader. It's pretty universally hated.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is, you know, it does have the chain.
We love the chain.
Which, I don't know why the new Return of the Jedi Vader doesn't have the chain. He definitely has a chain.
There is also a Japanese version of this figure that comes with a stand taped to the box. I thought that was very interesting. And up next we have Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. This is a figure I've defended in the past because you have to understand Yeah, pretty much none of these figures hold up today in 2023.
Right.
I mean, almost none of them do. So it's important to wind the clocks back and look at this through the lens of 2013, 14, 15 to consider it like, oh, was this a good figure at the time?
Right.
This Luke, I mean, he's a little doe-eyed.
Yeah. He also has like just a sad, I'm gonna cry look.
He does, but they did the removable vest piece, so you could have the flap down or no flap, so I always thought that was cool. And I didn't think it looked horrible.
Yeah, I mean, when it's on the shelf and you're looking at it, from a distance, you're like, oh, Return of the Jedi Luke, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, just thank goodness for photoreal.
Yeah, and it's funny that it's taken us literally almost 10 years to finally get an updated Jedi Knight Luke with the flat piece again.
Yeah, this is getting an all-new sculpt for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So if you don't have this figure, it's a great opportunity to pick this up come later this year.
And this one also had a Japanese version with a stand, right?
Yeah, just odd. I don't know.
Yeah. And then, of course, this Luke is the most expensive figure of the set, averaging $40.59 to this day.
Yeah, there's been plenty of Lukes that have come out, so that value has come down quite a bit to what it used to be.
But even still, $40 for this Luke?
That's just completionism at that point. There's no reason to have this specific iteration. But finally, we did get Chewbacca in the line. I will say it, for 2014, I always thought this was a good figure for the time. I think where my negative feelings towards this figure comes is just the sheer amount of times they used this body. 10 years of just non-stop using this Wookiee body. I was not a fan of that. Because of that, every time I see this Chewie body, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from, but you are right. Back then, it was a pretty good Chewbacca figure, It still looks good to this day, too. It's just the articulation is definitely really limited, and we all know that they could do a better Wookiee at this point, and we're going to see a better Wookiee soon with Chrysanthemum.
True.
But I would definitely get another Chewbacca if it was overhauled on a brand new body as well. I mean, imagine Chewie with butterfly joints.
That I would be down for. I've always disliked the bowcaster coming apart in two pieces as well.
Right.
Because I can never get that one longer piece with the two balls on it to stick in there. It's a peg system, but it always comes out for me.
Yeah. And then, it takes a shelf dive and then breaks apart. And then you don't know where that piece went flying to.
You never know what. And finally, we did want to mention one of the deluxe sets. This is technically not part of the vehicle line. That was not a thing until Red and Black Box. This was considered part of the deluxe sets, but this is a vehicle. It is the Speeder Bike with Biker Scout. And this set is amazing, and it still holds up today.
Oh, absolutely. We often talk on the channel about the Scout Trooper, how it is a figure that, could definitely use a couple updates, but overall still stands the test of time, not only in sculpt and paint app detail and all that good stuff, but also in the articulation department.
Yeah, those double jointed elbows work stupendously. And contrary to the Chewbacca figure, this is an example where I'm not mad at the repacks or the slight retools that they do in like Gaming Greats, or when this got an archive release, or an upcoming 40th Return of the Jedi. You can actually get this figure right now in the 40th Return of the Jedi wave. So I like it. I love the vehicle too. The stand has since been improved upon,
right?
Which is nice because it was a little bit of a wonky stand, but it was very dynamic. The paint and detail on the vehicle, super nice. I like the buttons and everything. The
little scraping detail. And you could also, separate the front piece from the actual main seat of the speeder.
Have Luke slash in it,
right?
Like he does in the film. It's just an overall good, solid set. And I'm not even mad that they repainted it for the Mando version with the Remnant Scout as well. Not mad at that one bit.
Yeah, because the speeder sculpt itself is just really solid, really accurate.
Yeah, this did originally retail for $39.99. It is worth about $65.09 today. However, Nate, we always tell the great story.
This is a classic of Black Series memory.
Us finding this set at a GameStop for 50% off. $19.99 we got this set. Because I remember we were scoffing at $39.99.
Yep. We were like, I'd never pay that for a scout trooper and a speeder bike.
Little did we know
how good we had it back then. But yeah, that was an awesome memory. Also got the Han and Tauntaun deluxe set, which I'm sure we'll talk about, on the next retrospective episode. But yeah, what a great start to the blue line. Mm-hmm. We got the Sand Trooper, we got Chewie, which for the time was iconic, and the Scout Trooper and speeder bike set. For the time, Luke was pretty good too. So really, you only had Vader as kind of the stinker. But even for the time, like if you go and look back at like old reviews of the Vader, there's plenty of like positive praise for it. Just simply being a 6-inch Vader that looked pretty good.
Yeah. A few things to note about this wave. All OT characters, so even as far back as the blue line, we were already kind of straying away from the prequels. We will get a few Clone Trooper repaints in the blue line and Cody, but aside from that, there was like an OB repack, which we'll talk about all that. However, they're already doing repaints.
Yeah.
All they did was change the pauldron color, you guys. 1 year in, and they're already slightly change the color, and yes, we blindly consume and love it, as we do most repaints.
Well, it's in the background, so it counts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the rank, it's the corporal. There's orange, white, black, so I want them all. But I just think it's interesting that so early in the line they were already repacking, repainting, because that's such like a common critique of the line when we're actually getting much more new sculpts today than we were back then. But now, it's the line of repaints. They've always been repainting things. Just take a look. Overall, solid wave, though. Solid wave.
Yeah, definitely. And so there you have it. There was a retrospective look at the very first wave of Blue Line figures all the way back in 2014, which was when we first started taking a look at these Black Series figures. I remember going into Toys R Us and looking around and going, what's that little Star Wars thing over there? What is that?
Yeah. This was around the time where I was flirting with the idea of 3 3/4 inch Black Series. If you never knew that about me, I did technically start out with a 3 3/4 inch Stormtrooper.
True.
Which I still have. Don't tell Zach. Don't tell Zach.
But good times back then. And the Blue Line was actually pretty easy to get for a few years after it was released. It stuck around, particularly in our area, in like all of the Walgreens that we have. It was just like Blue Line City for a long time, which was pretty good, especially for you playing catch up.
Yeah, it was great for me. Those are like classic memories of just finding all those different, like finding Bosk, IG-88, which we'll get to all those, but just good times. It's good to reminisce about these first couple years.
Definitely. So hopefully you enjoyed this retrospective look. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about the Black Series here on the channel. And if you'd like to support us in a more direct manner, we do also offer a channel membership as well as some merch. There are links for everything down in the description of this video. I would highly suggest you join the Discord.
Guys, come on. You gotta join the channel membership. No, I'm just kidding. You gotta join the Discord. Just hit the link. It's free. Join our community. Literally, so many people got ARC Trooper 5s, and so many people who weren't in the Discord, they missed out on it because they were sleeping and they didn't get it. So join that Discord.
Big shout out and special thank you to all of our current channel members, though. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
And we will see you all next time on Out of the Basement.